Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Raine Plays. Today I'm doing a shell challenge. I found this guy on Twitch, and it just so happened I was just scrolling through Sims 4 players. I caught him, and about 10 minutes later he raided another channel, so I didn't get to watch much, but I was impressed with the build. And he seemed like a nice guy. He was very personable. But I'm like, I haven't done a shell in a while, and this one looks reasonable. Now, his rules are pretty lax, which I enjoyed. It says, shell challenge 6 rules. Yes. Changing roofs, deleting roofs, adjusting wall and foundation height, adding more porches, add a basement, add walls to the interior, use any size lot. No, you cannot delete walls, delete the porch, and no CC items. He says he'll be touring them on June 15th, which I didn't care, and then he gave hashtags if you wanted to upload to the gallery, which I did, but not for the sake of fame. Hashtag a quarter ghost in a shell 6, which is what the challenge is. He also has a quarter ghost, which is his username, shell challenge, and he's on Twitch TV as a quarter ghost. But anyway, I flipped the shell, and it took me a while to figure out, rooms and things like that. But I think the eventual outcome, for me anyway, I was impressed. I was pleased with myself. It was not as difficult and nerve-wracking as my first shell challenge video, but it still had its moments. There are 2 tiny little, I don't know what you would call them, but you can't put a roof on it because it's just one square on either side of the house. I don't know why he chose to do that. So I just put, I'm sorry, my mic is scratching. I don't know why, but I put up those pillars to kind of hide it. I don't know if that helped. And then on the second floor, I think I messed up. I gave the master bedroom a balcony, so I don't think I touched his wall. I just turned that wall into a fence, and I don't know if that's breaking the rules or not. If so, I'm disqualified, and I'll apologize for that now, but the blueprint itself, the footprint of the house, the shell, is still there. I'm pretty sure. I did it, and then I thought about it afterwards. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. But I'm pretty sure I only made interior walls, and I left his walls alone. Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't suppose it really matters that much. But anyway, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I have a couple new packs, but I tried desperately not to use the Eco-Life items. I hope what he meant by no CC is content created. Well, how does that say? What does CC stand for? Custom content, right? Meaning made by somebody else. I didn't use any of that because I don't have any, aside from hair. But you don't even see the guy that I created to do this house, so that doesn't matter. Oh, and the other thing, typical me, I started out with my own idea in mind for the characters I created, which was just a man and his dog. But then I'm like, no, this is a shell challenge. It's going to go on the gallery, and people like family, so they're going to want bedrooms and closed off spaces, and so I went that route with this. I don't know. The 2 smaller bedrooms on the second floor They really gave me a hard time for the longest time, but I think I figured it out. I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. The color scheme, too. I just didn't have one. I don't know what I was going for. I messed around with things. Here's the odd thing about it. I do not care for the color blue. I know it's the world's favorite color, but I was never partial to it. Even in clothing, it's just not something that I was ever drawn to. I have always and still am drawn to vibrancy, sparkly, shining, bright. That has always been my taste. Gaudy, if you want to call it that. My mom used to call me a gypsy, if that gives you any indication. I was a little on the matchy side. I remember there was a time, I can't remember the era or the date, but there was a very short window where stripes and patterns were a thing. Like you'd have a striped pants and then a floral shirt, or what is it, Scotch pants, plaid pants and a striped shirt, and that drove me nuts. That I just couldn't wrap my head around something like that. That drives me nuts. But as far as color schemes go, I never really thought about, does this top match these pants? Do these shoes go with, I wasn't that type of a person. But then again, a majority of the things I owned were kind of samey. So I guess it didn't really even matter. But for this house, boy, I really don't know which direction I went in. I think what happens is the minute you put the floor down, that kind of sets the tone. And then everything else ends up being built around that, at least for me. So that could be the case here. I went with that siding and I stuck with it. Twice I thought about changing and I'm like, no, you commit yourself. So I did. I stayed with it. But I think it was a regrettable choice. I liked it at first. I'm like, my goodness, this looks like a lot of siding that I'm familiar with. But then as the build went on, I'm like, why does this not fit anymore? But I chose to keep it, and that was probably a bad decision. And I apologize if it offends anyone. I didn't mean to offend. So that's basically it. I do show you, we're on it now. I show you my gardening efforts. But that's another thing about these types of speed builds. It's not for me personally. So I take into consideration the odd off chance that someone might be interested in downloading it and using it for gameplay. I think what I didn't keep in mind is the person who just wants to plunk it down and start and not have to do any touch-ups or changes. I don't think I kept that person in mind, but I did constantly have in mind a person who would want to download it and then add their personal touches to it. So since it is just a single guy and his dog, I still gave them the 2 children's bedrooms upstairs. I gave them a laundry room when this guy would probably just go to a laundromat once a week. So when it came to the yard, I didn't want to fill it up with a bunch of kid stuff. He doesn't have any. So I left it as bare minimum as I could for the person who would want to add children's items and games and recreation stuff. So that's why it looks a little on the barren side. I didn't go crazy. But at least I remembered curtains in some of the rooms and garbage cans inside the house. I never remember those two items. Well, all right, garbage cans, yes, I forget them. I forget them every single time. And I think it's because when I was doing gameplay, I always purchased that one that gave you 10 or 20 simoleons every time you dump something in it. Which I realized after trial and error is a waste of money considering how much it cost. It'll take a ton of hours of gameplay just to recoup the cost. But I liked it. I thought it was cute. So it was my go-to garbage can. But then for these builds and videos, I'm like, that is an ugly trash can, and I doubt a lot of people use it. So I started getting into the habit of just plunking down a regular garbage can because it looked normal, quote unquote. And that's why I keep forgetting, because I'm not using what I normally do. As far as curtains go, I just don't like them. I've never been satisfied with any of EA's curtain decisions. They're either over the top wealth that belong either in a museum or someone's mansion, or they're generic run-of-the-mill. None of them match my interior. They give you the two tones, and they're ugly two tones, two colors that I would not want together, much less in a house. So eventually I just stopped even looking. I just stopped looking at curtains. Lately, there are a couple in there. There's a swatch from Cats and Dogs, and I think the Eco-Life curtain is pretty nice. Oh dear, then maybe I did use an Eco-Life item in this build. Right, well, I apologize to anyone who is interested in downloading this then. But there again, before I was able to get a lot of these packs and I would go onto the gallery looking for a house or a shell. Well, a house. And then I would fix it up my way. Every single time, the game would have to delete a ton of items and give me generic base game stuff as replacement. And I was cool with that. I'm like, that's fine. You know, I'm going to redecorate it anyway, right? Because I always thought that their restriction was you couldn't use CC items or they wouldn't show it on the gallery. And then when you ask them, please only show me builds from packs that I own, there's an option to click that, and I always do. And they still show me builds that have packs that I don't own. And so I go to download the lot, and it says, well, we had to take this and this and this away, so here's your EA replacement, your base game replacement. I'm like, but I told you not to do that. It's frustrating. And I don't know if that's a user thing, they're just not reporting it or what, but that doesn't make sense to me because EA calculates. You don't tell them what packs you're using. They do after you've uploaded. And then somebody else looks at your build and all of your included packs are listed with icons underneath it. So it's not, why is my microphone doing that? I hope it doesn't sound bad on recording. I apologize if it does. Anyway, I think that's about it. Can't get away from my fish tanks. I just love them. That's, again, speaking of fish tanks, the one thing I love about this game is being able to fish. Well, I got Stardew Valley, and it's a very addicting game. I'm unhappy, and yet I can't stop playing. I'm making so many mistakes, and I'm halfway through winter now of my first year, and I still can't stop. But I'm seriously thinking about just starting a new game to improve all the mistakes that the newbie me made. Halfway through that game, I ended up going on YouTube like I always do, going, I don't get it. What am I supposed to be doing here? Because all I seem to do on a daily basis is watch the TV go outside, water my plants, harvest if there's anything, and then I forage for the rest of the day. I forage or I mine, or I forage or I mine, or I forage or I mine. That's all I do. I'm like, this can't be right. There's got to be more to this game, right? Fishing. I love fishing in any game. I just think it's fascinating. And it's as relaxing in game form as it is in real life, because I love to fish in real life as well. But Stardew Valley fishing is so disappointing because I can't do it. It just doesn't work for me. And I have read numerous articles, I've watched numerous videos, and no one is telling me how to catch the fish. I'm using a keyboard and I'm not left-handed, but I constantly have to have my left hand on the keyboard for the WASD stupidity. I hate that setup more than anything in the world. If they can use WASD, why can't I use the up, down, left, and right arrows? That's my right hand. I'm right there. But my right hand is on the mouse and my left hand is on the keyboard, and you're supposed to hold down left click and then gently tap left click to keep the green bar on the fish. Like I said, I'm almost finished with an entire year in Stardew Valley, and I haven't caught one fish because I don't know how to do it. It never works. I lose every single catch. The only time I catch things is when I'm at home and I'm fishing in my pond and I catch a junk. If you can catch junk that way, why can't you catch fish that way? That is frustrating and very sad, because that is one feature of the game that I would have really liked to do and I can't. I just attended that end of the year ice fishing festival, and you're walking around talking to everybody and they're all geeked up for this festival, and a couple of them go, "Are you going to enter the contest?" And I'm like, "No, I suck at fishing. No, sorry, I suck at fishing." And my boy Elliot, he's the same way. He goes, "I don't know how to fish." I'm like, "Neither do I. Somebody needs to show us how it's done because I don't get it." And PJ, my friend PJ over there on Twitch, he used to stream his Stardew Valley, and he'd fish for hours. I guess there are tournaments and stuff, but he would fish for hours on his stream, catching one after the other, and I'm like, how is he doing it? I'm thinking I need a game controller. That might be easier, but I doubt it, because it's still a question of using your thumb to tap a key. And when I'm tapping on my mouse, the green thing either does not rise at all, or it shoots way to the top and refuses to come back down. And that's how I lose it all the time. I just don't get it. It's not making any sense to me at all. Very, very frustrating. Did I just go on a rant about Stardew Valley? I didn't mean to, and I hope it didn't sound like a rant. That was not my intention. Because, like I said, I'm addicted to that game. I have been going to bed later and later at night because I can't stop playing it. It's weird. But I think that's because I keep waiting for something to happen. Something's going to happen today, right? I'm going to be able to do something different today, right? That's my attitude going in. And it just doesn't change. So I don't know how soon I'm going to get bored with it. But right now I'm just... This room. Yeah, I apologize. They're in the subtitles. I went back and I fixed it. You'll see the pictures in a minute. That was embarrassing, because I always do a walkthrough before I do my tour video, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I must have gotten distracted. I don't know. By the way, first time using those Moschino windows. They're okay. But that was kind of like deciding. I chose those and I stuck with them. I said, no, you keep them there. That was what you chose, so... I just don't know how well it goes with the house. But I'd never used them before, so that's why I did it. I thought, okay, let's see what happens here. It's not too bad. I like the side shapes and everything like that. There's a lot that you could do with it in a different type of build. But I just stuck with it. The second floor just I don't know. It's not what I would have done had I stuck to the guy and his dog scenario. But as I mentioned, I kept the potential downloader in mind when I did this. Very generic so that they can go in and add their own touches, personal touches. But I still don't think it came out that bad. It was not as nerve-wracking as my first shell challenge, and that was a blessing. That was a relief. I don't know why Bella Goth showed up here, because this is Newcrest, and usually nobody bothers me the first time I enter this place. But it isn't even a welcome wagon, because you don't get welcome wagons in Newcrest until you start building up the community. She just popped out of nowhere and stood at the mailbox the whole time. I could not get rid of her. I waited and I waited and I waited, so I just said, you know what, you're in the pictures. Maybe that's why she showed up. She wanted to get some attention. And I cannot remember the name of this lot, but it's across the street from Tranquil something. It's in the Llama Lagoon neighborhood on the water, but I just can't remember the name of it. Normally when I do a build here, the first lot I tend to go to is Avarice Acres. But today I chose this one, probably because the house was so long. Now he had it turned just once so that it was long east and west, as opposed to my long north and south. He also had that, oh, I'm done. Oh well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a like. I also hope that you have a wonderful day. Again, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.